The rules are not the rules, and we know this. But this may yield possibilities that you might not have clocked yet. And this is a great week to dream up all of the beautiful things that could be, even if the laws, the authority structures, the rules as they stand are not the things that you thought or hoped that they would be. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician and astrologer. It's time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. If you want to get a reading, you can go to zambonifunk.com. If you want to learn how to do astrology, zambonifunk.com is the place to be. You should probably also go to Spotify and listen to the music because it's dope. This is a great week for listening to music, honestly, because Venus is in Pisces and Mercury is in Pisces, and these are making a trine to Jupiter in Cancer. This is the thing where I was saying possibilities are beautiful, and we can think with things that you might not have clocked yet. That's why, you might, if you haven't thought of it yet, then maybe you need to engage dream and imagination. And Venus is exalted in Pisces. Venus is the cooperation planet, it's the desire planet, it's the thing where things are beautiful and desirable and moving together, and adherence and cohesion, and things are delicious, and all of the Venus is exalted in this position in Pisces. So there is access to pleasure dynamics that is really exciting. And not only that, but this Venus in Pisces is also hanging out with the North Node. The North Node tends to increase things, tends to do more of whatever it touches. And so more beautiful, exciting Venus things, even to the point where it could be problematic, is what we're looking at here. Mercury is also here in Pisces. Mercury doesn't like Pisces as much as Venus does. Mercury can be a little bit confused or have trouble talking about things, but is really great at listening to things, and is really great at it's not prosaic, but rather poetic. It is steeped in metaphor, in dream narratives, in images, and these kinds of things, right? So this is a really good, and this is Mercury is not quite retrograde, but is going to move retrograde in this spot. And so the Mercury things are going to take some mulling over. This is not all going to happen at the one moment. You might get a flash of insight, but it's going to, even then, need to be refined by time. It's a little bit like the way that a stone becomes smooth by years of water erosion. It's a little bit like that. You might get a flash of insight, but it's not smooth yet. You're going to need to go through all of the water, all of the current, all of the things, the thoughts that could be thunk, and move that stone into something that is as beautiful and smooth and delightful as you hope it will be. So there's something here about working toward that smooth and delicious future and taking the time to imagine it, because you have a kind of freedom available to you that feels a little chaotic, perhaps, that feels a little bit unpredictable or frightening if order is not the way that you had thought, right? So if the rules are not the rules, then that means it is unclear what the rules actually are. Or even worse than that, it is clear what the rules are and they are horrific, right? That is part of what we have going on here. And so, but given that, then what if you approached if that was true? Because pretending like the rules are the rules when the rules are in fact not the rules gets you nowhere. But if you can get into it and be like, okay, the rules are not, okay, why do I keep saying the rules are not the rules? So Saturn has moved into Aries. Saturn is the planet of rules, boundaries, restrictions, discipline, consequences, things like that. Saturn in Aries is said to be fallen. In the same way that Mercury is fallen in Pisces, Saturn is fallen in Aries. That is to say that Saturn doesn't do the Saturn things very well from this position. So Saturn doesn't do a good job of regulating things or thinking long term. So we can expect a lot of short-term plays while Saturn is in Aries for the next 2.5 years or so. So we would expect that kind of thing, but then not only is Saturn in Aries, but Saturn is in Aries with Neptune. This is the week where we finally get the exact conjunction between Saturn and Neptune. Now, it doesn't go away after this week. Both of these planets move super slowly, and the Saturn-Neptune co-presence is going to be active for another 2.5 years. We've already had Saturn-Neptune together in Pisces, then they both moved into Aries. Now we still have more Saturn-Neptune. So Saturn's job is walls, boundaries, restrictions. Neptune's job is the dissolution of boundaries. So Neptune's job is to create soup. It is all the one stuff now. Imagination. I sometimes think about Neptune as the wellspring of dreams. So in order for thoughts to be turned into action, to be turned into objects, then the thoughts have to come from somewhere, and that is often someplace that is dreamy or imaginative, and they often come unbidden. They come from someplace that is not clear where it is. It's not clear what a thought is or where a thought comes from. Neptune is that place that is not clear exactly what it is, but it is the wellspring of dreams, right? So it's the place where the objects, which had to start as actions, which had to start as thoughts, which had to start as dreams, Neptune is the spot where those dreams came from. And so Neptune, along with Saturn, is very good at imagining how orders could be, but very terrible at actually implementing that. So there's a lot of vibes around this situation. It's big vibes all the time. And the order, the stability, the sense of like, oh, things make sense because they are ordered in a particular kind of way, none of that is happening while Saturn is conjunct Neptune. So when I say that the rules are not the rules, what I'm saying here is that laws and rules and descriptions of how things should be or could go or something like that, that's not what's happening. Rather, what is happening is what is actually possible. So sure, you can't go over 70 miles an hour on the highway, but your car goes faster than 70 miles an hour. And if you get on the highway, you can actually drive that fast. So that's what I mean about the rule is not the rule, right? The rule is your car goes as fast as your car goes, right? And so if we can apply that to all of the other things, then what are the kinds of laws or rules or regulations that keep you in order because that's where your mind is? What if you allowed yourself to step outside of that box and engage in the world as it actually is? Some of that is kind of horrific. Some of that is like, oh, the guardrails aren't there anymore, and now there's an openness to a kind of danger that I didn't think was possible before. The truly horrifying thing here is that that was always the case. And now we simply have to interface with it because the authority structures that did their best to impose those guardrails and make sure that that level of chaos and realness didn't actually arrive at the individual level, that is not operational in the way that it had been before. You know, there was a time not that long ago when Saturn was a square ago, 7 years ago, then Saturn was in Capricorn. That was super strong Saturn. I will remind you that Saturn and Pluto together in Capricorn gave us 2020, which was the strongest lockdowns that the world had ever seen. Global, basically home incarceration, right? So very strong boundaries in that moment. Now is not that time. We're not doing that anymore. We are out here actually interfacing with the world, however that might be. And so if we're thinking with Venus and Mercury in Pisces, thinking with the imaginative space, anything is possible out here. And some of it can actually be pleasurable. Like if something about this is freeing in a way that can bring you delights that you hadn't thought of before, that you hadn't thought possible. So this is a great week to make good art that helps you to imagine a beautiful world that may even include horror, because horror can sometimes be beautiful, but that you can be effective in.